Hi, I'm Dr. Mashu. Welcome to my class. Today I am going to discuss about the characteristics of wastewater.
Before going to the topic, we can have an introduction about water. Water is an essential compound of the nature and which is covering approximately 3/4 of the surface of the earth, and in that only 0.62% of the water found in freshwater lakes, rivers and groundwater, and that are irregularly and non-uniformly distributed over the vast area of the globe. And this 0.62% water is the only source of for human beings to use for domestic, industrial and agricultural activities. And we know that pollution is a major threat to human beings and other organisms in the earth. And due to the human activity, the large portion of this fresh water become polluted, and any water that has been contaminated by domestic or industrial or agriculture or commercial or other health activity and stormwater is also called wastewater. And this wastewater has three characteristics, like one is physical, second one is chemical, and third one is biological. And each characteristics has different parameters. And in this class we will discuss the details about these parameters. First, we can discuss about physical characteristics, and in that we can there are different factors. Is that first one is suspended solids. This suspended solids may be inorganic or organic particles, and inorganic particles such as clay, silts and other soil constitute these inorganic solids, and organic materials such as plants, fibers and biological solids as algal cells and bacteria that may constitute organic materials. These are the suspended solids may be found in the wastewater. And the second factor is the turbidity. We know that turbidity is the property of absorption of light or scattering of light by suspended materials in the water. Turbidity, turbid water may be appear cloudy or murky, colored, and this colored material of clay, silts, rock fragments and metal oxides and vegetables, fibers and microorganisms cause turbidity. And also the soaps, detergents and emulsifying agents produce stable colloids that also leads to the formation of turbidity in the water. You can see in this picture the first bottle, water bottle is the pure water, and the next one is the somewhat solid material is there, so that the transparency of the water is decrease, and second and third one and fourth one that increase the turbidity because of the materials present, and that's the turbidity, the second factor. Next factor is a color. Normally the fresh water has no color, and that is colorless, and the change in the color of wastewater water, that means the color of wastewater is depends on the contaminant present, and the intensity of the color of the wastewater maybe depends on the time of contact with the contaminant, and the contact with the iron oxide causes reddish water, and the manganese oxide gives brown or blackish water, and the fresh sanitary sewage is a gray in color, and its colorless. Its color deepens with time, and with the contact with the leaves, weeds, wood leads to yellowish brown hue water due to the presence of tannin and humic acid in these plant parts. That leads to the yellowish brown hue color to the wastewater. And next fact is the taste and odor. Substances which comes to prolonged contact with the water may cause taste and odor. That taste and odor of the wastewater may be thus depends on the substances that is contact with this water. That leads to the taste and odor of the water. And minerals, metals, and salts from soil may give taste and odor to water. And odor is mainly caused because of gases of decomposition of organic material from dead animals, plants, and sanitary sewage, etc. Compared to other factors, odor causes more psychological stress than any direct harm. Next physical parameter is temperature. Normally, the temperature of water depends on where it is present. If the water is present in the colder climate, then the water will be cold, and if it is present in the hot climate, then the water will be hot. And the change in temperature of water may be due to different reasons, like the use of industry, or the use of domestic or other purpose. Due to this, the temperature of this water may be changed, and the presence of certain chemicals may also affect the temperature of the water. And it is normally known that a rise in temperature enhances the toxicity of poison, and that also increase the intensity of odor. And in above 50 degrees Celsius, the aerobic digestion will be affected, and this methanogenic bacteria are important in the anaerobic digestion of organic material or waste materials. And below 15 degrees Celsius, the methanogenic bacteria will be inactive. Next, we can see the chemical characteristics. In that, first we have to see the total dissolved solids. TDS may be organic or inorganic origin, and this is reached to the wastewater by the prolonged contact of this salt of this organic or inorganic material in the catchment area or from industry. And this organic substances are inorganic materials substances are minerals and metals, and organic materials may be decay products of vegetables and animal origin give rise to organic matter. And the second property is that alkalinity. Alkalinity means the pH above 7 we can is the alkalinity. Alkalinity may be the soil and atmosphere contribute alkalinity to the water by carbonate, bicarbonate, and hydroxides, dihydrogen borate, hydrogen phosphate, and ammonia. Phosphates from detergents and fertilizers and insecticides of agricultural land may also cause alkalinity. The industrial effluents and industrial uh, and sewages that also cause the wastewater's alkalinity. And the third one is the hardness. Hardness is the hard water those which do not readily give leather when it react with soap, that are known as hard waters. The hardness is maybe due to dissolved divalent metallic cations such as Ca double plus, calcium and magnesium, and ferrous, manganese and strontium, and anions such as bicarbonates, chlorides and sulfate may also cause this hardness. Next chemical factor is the fluorides. Normally igneous rocks and sedimentary rocks contains fluorides that may comes to the water, and certain industries also produce fluorides as a waste material, and that will come industrial effluent to the water, and at minimal level of fluoride in the water that will good for the health of the teeth, but excessive fluoride is harmful to both teeth and bones. Next one is inorganic salt. Normally inorganic salts which are present in the most industrial wastes and as well as in natural soils, and the sometimes is some fertilizers also contain this inorganic salts. Salts like nitrogen and phosphate promote the growth of microscopic plants life like algae, and that will result in the eutrophication of lakes. Next one is acids and alkalis. Normally acids and alkalis are discharged by several industries and some chemical industries and other so many industries as a leather industry, and so many industries will produce acids and alkali that will comes to the water, and this change in the pH of water will harmfully affect the growth of so many living organisms in the, and that will also leads the aquatic biodiversity. Next one is chlorides. In natural water, chlorides will reach from the chloride containing rocks and soils, and from the agricultural activity, from the fertilizers and insecticides and industrials and domestic wastewaters contain chlorides also. Chlorides also affect the growth of aquatic organisms. Next is metals and heavy metals. Normally all metals are soluble to some extent in water, and metals some metals are harmful in small concentration, and they are termed as toxic metals, and calcium and magnesium causes hardness in the water, and the most common toxic heavy metal in wastewater found in wastewater includes arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, chromium, copper, nickel, silver, zinc, etc. And the release of high amount of heavy metals into water bodies create serious health and environmental problems. And next factor is the nitrogen. Normally nitrogen is the constant of protein, chlorophyll, and upon the death of these organisms it will reach the water, and some industrial waters also contain nitrogen, and fertilizers also contain nitrogen, and that will reach the water, and high concentration of nitrogen in the water that may leads to blue baby syndrome. Phosphorus. Naturally this phosphorus occupies in aquatic environment as a phosphate, and Some fertilizers, animal waste, industries are the major source of phosphorus, and some industrial effluents also contain this phosphorus. And this high amount of phosphorus and nitrogen in the aquatic environments leads to eutrophication and algal blooming. Other factor is carbohydrate, proteins, fat, etc. Normally, starch, sugars, and wood fibers are the common carbohydrates present in the wastewater, and fat oils are the third major components of foodstuff that will be reached into the water as a waste from the domestic or other other food industries. And some other industrial waste also contain these carbohydrates and proteins and fats. One of the other important chemical factor of wastewater is the biochemical oxygen demand. Then we know that bacteria and other microorganisms will degrade the waste material, so they have to use oxygen for that purpose. And the BOD is defined as the amount of oxygen required by microorganisms to stabilize the decomposable organic material at a particular time and temperature. And biochemical oxygen demand BOD test is widely used to determine the pollution strength of domestic and industrial water in terms of the oxygen. BOD will be high in wastewater compared to natural water. Another important factor is chemical oxygen demand. In the previous slide, we have explained that biochemical oxygen demand. Biochemical oxygen demand means amount of dissolved oxygen required to stabilize organic decomposable matter of a solution of a water, that is known as biochemical oxygen demand. But the chemical oxygen demand means the amount of dissolved oxygen required to oxidize and stabilize organic and inorganic content of the water, that is known as chemical oxygen demand. And it is normally used to measure the content of oxidizable organic as well as inorganic matter in the given sample of water. And this, like BOD, the COD also will be high in the wastewater. The next characteristics is biological. The principal group of flora and fauna found in the surface and wastewater are mainly bacteria, fungi, algae, and protozoa, and some other microscopic worms also found in water. And normally these organisms are not native to this aquatic and not native to aquatic environment, but they need usually required a animal host to for the growth and its reproduction. Many species of organism can survive this water for the long time, and that can able to cause infectious disease to human beings. Viruses like hepatitis virus and bacteria like salmonella, shigella, and protozoans, many protozoans and helminths can survive in the wastewater or in water, and that can able to, when it's reached human beings, that will cause diseases in humans. And mostly these organisms found in sanitary wastewater, and if is come to the drinking water, contact with the drinking water, that will leads to cause diseases in human beings. This is the characteristics of wastewater, and in my coming videos I will post the wastewater treatment, and I hope you understood this class. If you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe my channel and share my video classes with your friends. And thank you for the listening.